Hello and welcome back. You may have seen our previous tutorial where we specified how to create a sales template. Well, in this tutorial, we will show you how to use this template to upload your sales file. To get started, let's go to the sales directory and select the sales page. On this page, we can upload a new sales file by hitting the create button at the top right of our screen. This will take us to the sales file setup page. First up, let's give this file a clear name for our own reference. Let's name it 2020-01 Deezer, assuming this is a Deezer sales file for January 2020. We can add an invoice number as a reference if you like, but let's leave it blank in this instance. Next, we can add a target period tag. The purpose of this is to make it easy to find all the sales files that should be included the next time you run a period. Let's fill in 2020 H1. That way we'll know next time we run our 2020 H1 period, this file needs to be included. Next up, we need to select which template we want to use to upload this sales file. As a source, we select Merlin, and we select the Deezer template. And finally, we attach the sales file we are looking to upload. Now we can hit the import button, which will upload the file onto our database. Once that is done, we land on the pre-ingestion page. On this page, we can make any final changes to our standard fields if necessary. Looking at our required fields, we can see we're still missing the exchange rate and transaction date. So let's complete these manually in the set fields. Once we're happy with what we see, we can hit the ingest button. This will now populate all the right fields in our database with the data from this sales file. How long this takes depends on the size of our file, but generally Curve can process 2 million lines of sale data in about 1 minute. Once our ingestion is complete, which we can see via the green check mark displaying right here, we can enter our sales file. If there are any unknown values in our sales file, a pop-up will appear. We call this pop-up the mapping manager. In this mapping manager, Curve will flag any values in the sales file that do not map any of our default values on Curve. In this example, Curve doesn't recognize the territory value the Netherlands, but we know this should be mapped to the territory Netherlands, which we select like this. Next, Curve doesn't recognize this particular ISRC code, which means there is no track in our catalog that matches this identifier. This could mean this track does not yet exist in Curve, and we need to create it, or it could mean that it does exist in Curve, but with a different ISRC. If so, we can search for it here, and choose for the unknown ISRC to be mapped as an alias to this particular track. Curve will remember this connection, and every time revenue comes in for this ISRC, Curve will automatically map it to the correct track in your catalog. Now that we have completed mapping these values via the mapping manager, we can re-ingest our sales file and head back into it once it's done. Now we see some headline metadata, displaying how many sales lines, units and revenues were processed in the statement, allowing us to check everything was ingested as expected. If there is no invalid lines, that means our job is done. Sadly, in this case, there is one invalid line still. So let's have a look at what this may be. We can go to the bottom of our page and filter on all sales lines that have an incomplete status. This returns the one invalid line we still need to deal with. As you can see, the sale line is missing both an ISRC and a barcode value, so Curve does not know which track to map the sale to. The line didn't show in the mapping manager because there is no value it could use as a mapping reference. There are two ways we can deal with an invalid line like this. Option 1, we can either manually complete the sale line and revalidate our file, or option 2, we can make a change to our template to make sure Curve can read and map this line independently. As a rule of thumb, always go for option 2. Always try to resolve this by updating your template. This has as the greatest benefit that it doesn't only fix this particular case, but also every similar case to come. So let's go back to our template. Our issue was that no ISRC value was given, even though we were certain it was a stream for one of our tracks. So let's write a calculation that says, under the condition that the field ISRC is blank, then the ISRC should equal the track artist concatenated with the track title. So what this calculation does, every time the ISRC field is blank, it will use the combination of the track artist and the track title as the ISRC. To show you how that functions, let's re-ingest our sales file, which will take into account the changes we just made to our template. As opposed to last time, the mapping manager is picking up this sales line this time around because we've written a calculation that allows the combination of the track title and track artist to be used as ISRC, as you can see here. We can now direct Curve to map this sale line to the correct track, And after our file has been ingested, you'll notice there are now 0 invalid lines and our sales file is complete. So that's our intro on how to upload sales files onto Curve. For more information on how to use a mapping manager or how to write calculations in your template, we refer to our written documentation. Thanks for watching.